Well, hello everybody. First off, I want to say I hope you all have had, you know, a wonderful day. I hope whatever God or gods you believe in has been blessing you. I really mean that. Now, I want to discuss a topic with a lot of y'all, if you'll let me. And that's this greed. And there's a few other topics we will cover as well in this longer video. You know, people will say things like, oh, clothes have value, and things like this chain right here, or, maybe they like my rings, I got some nice ones, I'll admit. It's not a bad watch, not that expensive, $60 watch, but there you go. No, take it. If you need this watch more than I do, it's yours. You need these rings because they somehow, have a value to you? Okay. You're cold? Well, can have my jacket if you need it. You're Asian, Native American, whatever, cool. As long as you're respectful, I don't care who you are. I don't care what you identify as or what you're doing in your own private life. I do not care. That is none of my business, nor will it ever be my business. The same way when it comes to, the same way when it comes to, lost my train of thought here. But the point is this. These, all of these, they're metal. Where does metal come from? It comes from the ground. This, once at one point, a rock in the ground. Rock in the grounds. Sterling silver, yeah, rock in the ground. Covered in dirt. Actually looked pretty gross. Before you craft into some mosaic, yep, from the ground. Leather. Animal lost its life to make that nice leather. There, right there. Quartz. Out of the ground. Stainless steel. Out of the ground. So, let me ask you this. With all of these things being pointed out, you're all probably like, where are you getting at this? Why do you let people tell you that a bunch of shit in the fucking ground is so valuable? Why? It came out of the ground. The dirt. The stones. And then you got the concept of money. Okay? If money is backed by gold, as they say, or whatever, why would, you never hear about anybody who's ever worked in that profession? And knowing my luck, now that I've said that, somebody will probably comment on this video, say, oh, I work for the gold reserves. Well, congratulations, you magically somehow found this video. Totally not a government stalker. But, anyways. Material items, money, it's worthless. in the end, it's worthless. Me, my whole life, I wanted to wear Rolexes, big fancy chains and the rings and, whatever. I wanted to have all these ideas in my head. But then I took a step back. And I looked at people like Chester. All of the greats who have passed away. When people ask them about their mental health. And they struggle. They go through such hell, they end up just taking their own life. All the greats. Because no matter how much silver you line your fingers, your pockets, or anything with, how much gold you have in your pocket, how much paper with numbers on it you put in your wallet, if your happiness comes from fancy things or paper money, congratulations. You are actually the most poorest person in the entire fucking world. Seriously. You are the most poorest person in the entire world. Nah. And you know what? Don't just take my word for it. I hope you get all that money and all that. Because I want actually you to succeed in that. I want you to get all of that money. And I want you to look down from your throne. Take a moment and breathe after all the success. The money's booming. Everything's going in your favor. And I want you, when you finally hit the jackpot in life, to think about, what some dumb 24-year-old said on the internet. When you blow up your millions and you own the business and whatever the fuck it is that made you so big and great like you thought. I want you to look around at yourself. Look at the empire you've made. Because Johnny Cash came to know this. He had all the fame, he had the broads, everything. And what did he say in that song? My empire of dirt. Yeah. My own empire of dirt. Yeah. He thought he had it all. The money, the broads, whatever. But if you've seen any person who's ever truthfully believed they had it all, when it comes to material possessions and shiny cars, they can play it off, Oh yeah, this is the best shit ever, For a while, you can lie to yourself pretty damn good that you're happy. But every night, you will find yourself, subconsciously lying awake 3 a.m. asking yourself, why do I feel so empty? So void? Yeah. Because you took something, gems, whatever it be, and paper, that doesn't care about you, is not loyal to you. Money can't be loyal. It doesn't exist. It's man-created. The only things that can be loyal are living beings. They're the only things that have the actual potential to be loyal. That's it. Simple. You sought your whole life after material possessions. Just so you could have it all and then find yourself horribly alone. At the end of the day, alone, doing whatever you want, until eventually you sit there in such loneliness. Boom. Think about this for a minute. But I want you all to have a wonderful day regardless. And maybe try to see the reality of what life really is and should be. Help others, help the weak, do better, and stay brutal. Blessed be.